This is the third step in the newsletter process. We have completed the data table, we've completed the classroom newsletter. Now we're ready to actually merge the two together. Again, from the online website, we actually won't need to pull anything off of here. From the assignments and the newsletters, you can see the data table was the first part, the classroom newsletter was the second part, and then the third part is the merged newsletter. And as it says here, it's a combination of the two documents above. So on the merged newsletter page, this is where you will eventually see a link to the video that we're creating right now as we talk about this. What you will need to have in front of you is you need to have your data table opened. You need to have your classroom newsletter opened. Once you've got the two of those open, make sure that you know exactly where they are so that you can get access to them rather quickly. You want to be on your classroom newsletter. Now we're going to start the mail merge process. So you're going to go to the Mailings tab and start mail merge. I mean, if you click that down arrow, you've got letters, envelopes, all these options, but you want to choose the last option, which is the step-by-step mail merge wizard. When you do that, that brings you over here to the right-hand side. It brings up a little dialog box on the right where it'll walk you through your mail merge, and you can see you are on step 1 of 6. Some of these steps are going to be very, very easy. Some are going to be a little bit more difficult and take a little more time. So, first step, what type of document are you working on? A letter. That's the default option. That's what we're working on. A newsletter, a letter makes sense. So, next. Select the current document. We're going to use select the starting document. We're going to use the current one. So next. Now we go to select the recipients. This is where it's going to start having to make a little bit of options. We're going to browse and find our data table. This is where you need to know where it was you put your assignment. For me, it's right here in this newsletter folder. We have data table docx. We're going to open that. If you see a window like this, it is correct. This lets you know you've got it in the exact right format. If it gives you some error message, the most popular error message is because you have on your data table you have a paragraph mark right here at the bottom. I'm sorry, not at the bottom, at the top. So we click OK here. Won't make any particular changes, but again, the biggest error people have is they'll have a paragraph mark right here above the table. We see where that block is. There'll be a little paragraph mark. Turn them on. You'll see a paragraph mark like the one here after street. There'll be one right above, right in this area right here. To get rid of that, highlight it, press delete, not backspace, press delete, and that'll get rid of it. Resave it, and then you should be able to move along correctly. Okay, so we've got this. We're going to use the existing list. We've already selected everything. Next is write your letter. Well, we've already done that, so we're on to step 4. Now we need to start putting in fields. This is where we're going to start going through and customizing. So, student's copy. We want to actually get rid of the word student, and we want to put the student's actual name in there. So we're up here at the top where it says Insert Merge Field. If we click the down arrow key, or if we double click it, it'll bring out this dialog box. Obviously, the student's copy, we want it to be their first name. So we're just going to simply highlight student and click Insert. Then we can close that. Now you see you've got two little greater than, less than symbols on either side. If you click on that one time, anywhere you click outside of it, click back on the E in name, click back out, click on the F in first. Anywhere you click, you'll notice the whole thing highlights. It's because it is a mail merge field. You want to keep it in there. You don't want there to be any space. You want it to be first name, apostrophe S. So now we're going to go through and continue to put in the rest of this stuff. Where we have student picture, we're going to highlight student picture. Again, let me go to home and turn on the show all characters so we can see exactly what we're talking with. Back to our mailings, we're going to go to insert merge field and we're going to insert picture. And that's all we want there is the word picture highlighted. Now we can go and we can center the word picture so that the picture will be centered in our text box there. Okay, back to mailings. Now we're going to scroll on down here. Okay, now where it has your student, and they guessed the number, this is again going to be first name. So we want first name, make sure we have a space after first name. That's what those little dots are, and that's why we have the show characters on. They guessed a certain number, so we're going to put in number guessed. A space, finished in a certain place, make sure we got a space there, congratulations, your student, insert merge field, and we're going to insert the first name again. So that's what it should look like there. We got picture. Now, last couple ones we got to do here. Insert merge field, this is going to be our teacher comment, and then we have parent's name, and we want this to be parent's name. I want to press enter there because I want address to be on a separate line. And remember, we put address and then city, state, and zip. Now we have phone number. Now if I replace the word phone number with the field phone number, then what's going to show up is just the digits. So actually in front of that I want the words phone number. So we'll have phone number and a space, and then the phone number will actually show up there. So we're going to go through again, check to make sure that we've got the word picture, we've got the first name, we've made all the changes here at the bottom of the scavenger hunt. So everything looks pretty good. Pretty much happy with it. I think I'd like my picture to be down just a little bit more, to be 3 spaces up there. So that's good. I'm happy. I like this. Let's move my teacher comments a little bit. Okay, I can live with that. That looks pretty good. So next we're going to preview our letter. Now you'll notice when we hit preview, stuff started filling in. We have teacher comments now. We have contact information. We have names here, numbers, finished in certain places. So these are all, this lets us know that this thing is actually working. Notice it says Candy's copy up here now. So if we go to the previous step, it says first name's copy. When we go to preview, now it says Candy's copy. Now in our picture doesn't quite fit in our picture frame. So let's go make our picture frame a little bit bigger. It's not at all a problem to go do this. So let's go to the previous step. So this is one where you may just have to kind of play around a little bit with it. Again, we want to preview. Okay, let's reinsert that. It doesn't seem to be working correctly, so we'll just delete it out of there, and now we'll insert picture. Let's go. You don't, as you can see here, when you start playing and messing around with the picture, it doesn't work correctly. So we'll delete it back out of there again. We'll make our text box a little bit wider. We'll go back and insert. Click back in the field, insert picture. That looks good. Now you'll notice you got 2 arrows up here. Recipient 1. We have 3. So if we click next, or the right arrows, it should take us to a second picture. The name should change. The numbers guess what place they finished in. Our comments, addresses, all of this stuff should change. Same thing for the third person in the class. So again, we can walk through this at any time. If we take off our show all characters, it lets us kind of see what it's going to look like. Oh, it looks like we have 2 pictures in there. So there we go. Got rid of that one. We got a second picture there we'll delete. Looks like we've got a second picture there which we'll delete. So we've gotten rid of all the extra stuff there that doesn't need to be in there. There's a picture of us. There's your picture. As you can see, there's a picture of me, the picture of the student. Everything looks exactly the way we want it to. So on step 5 of 6, step 6 of 6 is to complete the merge. Now, do we want to print these or do we want to edit the individual letters? I don't want these in hard copy, so obviously we're not going to print them. But when we click Edit Individual Letters, it brings up this Merge to New Document. We're going to merge all of them, and it's going to create a brand new document. So we click OK, and you'll notice we have a document now that's titled Letters 1. And when we scroll down, it is a 3-page letter. So we're going to turn the show all characters on so we can see that. We now have a 3-page newsletter. So that if we were to go through and print this, it would show up exactly the way we want. Now, we're still having a little bit of a problem with the extra pictures in there, but we can go through on each of these individually and make our changes. And now we get exactly what we want. A couple of other choices and changes that you can make. If you think the text box is too big on one of them, you can make it a little bit smaller on that one. Doesn't look particularly. Maybe this one just needs to be a little smaller from the bottom. We can make any of these specific changes this way. This one doesn't really need any. It's pretty much centered in there. So we can make individual changes to our newsletters. This is where if you have a student that has a particularly long last name that causes it to wrap from one line to the next or something like that, you can go through and fix that. So there we go. We got third place fixed in there. There we go. Finished in third place. We got congratulations. That kind of fits in there. So you can make individual changes on your newsletter. So like we might have a little bit too much room on our teacher comments for the ones that I used. So let's go in and let's shorten this up a little bit on all of these. Now the reason we have to shorten these up on all of these is because we're making individual changes. Now if we had noticed a rather large problem, for some reason Classroom Newsletter was not at all the way we wanted it, our title was just really messed up, and we wanted to make our changes, well, you can see now we have three documents. We have the merge newsletter, we have the data table, and we have the classroom newsletter. What we would want to do is we would want to come back in here, make the changes. For instance, we would make the changes to the classroom newsletter, and there's our favorite friend Algerian, and we do that, and then if we go back to edit the individual letters, we're going to have to remerge it. This one will be letters too, but you notice that this change has been made at the top on the first one and the second one and the third one. It's not that difficult to go in and make the same change 3 times, but if you have, notice we still have those pictures in there again, unlike in this one where we've already edited them out. So it's not at all a problem to make the change in 3 pages, but if you have a classroom of 30 students, you don't want to go make the same change 30 times. So instead of going and making the change, go back to your classroom newsletter, make the change, and then remerge. So now that we've got this is our letters. It's our 3-page document. We're going to File and Save As, and we're going to put this in a location in a location where we know where it is, so we can find that. For me, that's in this space in the newsletters folder, and we're going to call this not classroom newsletter, but merged newsletter. This is the newsletter that we have merged together into one. When I go to grade this is the document that I'm going to grade. The only way you can get this newsletter right is if you have gotten the data table right, and if you have gotten the classroom newsletter right. If you get these 2 parts right, you can come up with a correct copy for this. If this is wrong, then I will go back and look at some of the other documents to try and figure out what your problem is. This is also the document that you will upload onto TK20. This is the only document. You guys met with Robert Dodd just a few days ago. You should be able to get this information, create an artifact, attach this artifact to it, and submit it to me. If you need help with that, there's plenty of help available on the TK20 website. You can send me emails. I can help point you in the right direction. So this concludes the classroom newsletter activity and assignment. Again, you should have 3 parts. You should have a data table, you should have the classroom newsletter, and when you're finished, you should have a 3-page merged newsletter.